Feeling better?
Oh, yes. That ointment of yours is a gift from heaven. Now they only ache when there's a storm coming.
That's handy, isn't it? At least you know when to round up the cattle and gather in the hay.
Aye. When I'm old and infirm, folks will come to me for the weather forecast.
I heard about this fella who always got heartburn just before it snowed. You could team up.
All we need is a bloke who can't get it up when it's going to be sunny, and we'll be the three wise men.
Three cripples, more.
Greetings. Do you need something?
People call you the mouth, right? They say you tell all sorts of stories.
I'm no mouth to you. My name is Denyek. Got that? What do people call you then? Bughead? Arse face?
I'm sorry, Stenyak. I'm Henry.
Pleased to meet you. But you were right about the stories. I could tell you stories so sad they'd make the devil cry. Or would you prefer something so scary it'll make the hairs on your ass turn white? But it's a lot of hard work for me. Now, if you had something to drink or a couple of groschen, that might help loosen my tongue.
To your health, my friend.
Thank you very much. I knew you wouldn't leave me high and dry. So what kind of story would you like to hear?
I like stories that can teach me something. Stories with a moral.
Haven't you heard enough of those in church? But it's not a problem. I have just a tale for you. And it's not one you'll hear from any priest. So, once upon a time, there lived in these very lands two brothers. The older was called Kuba, the younger, Matthias. They were both woodcutters, like their father and his father before him. One day, at the height of summer, they were working in the woods. The air was as hot as a furnace, so Matthias went to a nearby pond to cool himself. But as he was leaning over the cold water, there was a loud splash. His axe had got loose from his belt. In haste, he began to search the muddy bed of the pond, and his hands soon touched something hard and heavy. He pulled it out and could not believe his eyes. He pulled out an axe. Yes, but not his old one. It was an axe made of pure silver.
Good God. I'd grab that without a second thought.
Maybe you would, but Matthias would never. He was an honest man, and with a big swing he threw the silver axe back. He searched the pond again, and this time he pulled out his own axe. Nothing but dull iron and old wood.
I reckon that was the right choice. Who knows who the silver axe belonged to?
Well, quite. Listen on. Matthias was just about to leave when suddenly a water goblin came out of the pond, silver axe in his hands, and he said, "You're a righteous man, Matthias, and for your honesty, you may keep both axes." Matthias, not hanging around for the goblin to change his mind, took up both axes, gave us thanks, and ran to tell Kuba all about it. Kuba, however, was not best pleased with his little brother's fortune. He deeply envied Matthias for his newfound wealth. So, he set out to try the same thing. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him straight to the pond, threw his own axe in, and began a pretend search for it. Yet Kuba had no luck. He pulled out the axe he'd thrown in himself. So he tried again. Tricked by sunlight, he grabbed something shiny, only to pull out his old iron axe again. Enraged, he hurled his axe back into the water and yelled, "Fuck this axe! I want a silver one!" But the water goblin heard his shameful cry and was greatly upset by Kuba's greed. So, when Kuba reached down into the water for a third time, the water goblin seized his hand, pulled him down whole to the dark depths, and drowned him.
Well, all was as it should have been. It was Kuba's fault.
I don't think so. It seems Matthias didn't either. He went to the water goblin and begged for his brother's body so he could take him home and bury him. But the path back from the pond led over a steep hill, and carrying the weight of the waterlogged body exhausted Matthias. He stopped to rest by an old oak tree, and he used a silver axe to cut off a branch that would serve as a walking stick. But it wasn't enough. Somehow, it was still getting harder to continue up the hill. Then Matthias realized it wasn't his brother's body that was weighing him down. It was the silver axe. The axe was the cause of all this trouble. So he started bashing the silver axe against the big stone with all his might, trying to destroy it. Yet no matter what, he couldn't even make a dent. With the last of his strength, Matthias climbed to the top of the hill. He knew he could go no further, so he found a pretty spot with a view over the valley and dug his brother a grave. There, he buried both his brother and the silver axe that had brought such pain upon them. His final act was to stick the oak branch in the ground by the grave. But lo and behold, the branch grew green leaves and became a tree. The locals have had no dealings with the water goblin since then, but some have had the bad luck to bump into him. And when you walk by the pier, where it all happened, you can still hear his chuckling.
That was a very nice story.
Story? What story? It's the truth.
Well, why hasn't anyone gone looking for the axe then?
Because it brings misfortune. Didn't you listen to me at all? Look for yourself if you wish. Rock Tower Pond isn't far from here. The Water Goblin's Pier is somewhere among the reeds. But leave me out of it. I'm fine here with my drink.
Could this be the pier from Zdeněk's story? He said Matthias carried Kuba's body up the hill from here, up to an old oak tree. Well, there really is an old oak tree here. But what was the rest of the story? Something about smashing the axe on a rock. This could be the rock from the story. I'm on the right path. A grave under the tree, overlooking the valley. This must be where Kuba, Matthias's brother, is buried, together with the silver axe. God in heaven. This really is the axe. All those years in the earth haven't treated it well. I hope I can fix it.
To eat, thanks. Be careful. God is punishing us for our sins. What would you like?
I need something repaired.
What would you like?
I'll have a look at the wares.
Thank you, and a good day to you, friend. Christ, what a day.
Good doggy, good boy.
I should heat it up again.
You have a kind master, eh, Mutt?
Well, this one's gonna need some more work. It needs heat. It's cold. Good. This won't take long now.
Christ almighty.
Oh, God. I better not botch this up.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
I found the water goblin's silver axe.
What do you mean? What axe?
The one from your story. 2 brothers, a silver axe, a water goblin. One brother got the axe, the other got drowned. You know.
Wait, so you actually found it? Do you have it? I have to see it.
Here you go.
It's not possible. Where did you find it?
I just followed your story. I found the pier by the rock tower pond, then went up to the old oak tree, then the big stone beside the road.
Doesn't really look like a woodcutter's axe. Are you sure this is really it?
But you didn't say it was a woodcutter's axe. You only said the water goblin's axe was silver.
I did, but still. In all the years that story's been told, everyone thought it was just a fairy tale for children. It has 4 different endings nowadays. When Johann and Jaleov tells the tale, it's about 2 sisters, and the water goblin grants one of them a pair of silver slippers. The other sister was jealous, but she didn't bother with the water goblin. She found her sister straight away and pushed her off a cliff in Apollonia. It's the same story, but Johann gave it some extra colour. Best not go looking for the slippers too. Although, with your luck... See you later.
Greetings. What do you need?
I heard you could use a helping hand at the forge.
I could. My last 2 hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. What do they call you?
Henry.
I'm Radovan. You should know, Henry. The blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge.
Silly doggy.
Get to it. I want to see how you'll fare. Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. It works better. Tell the temperature by the color, but you won't be able to tell when it's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? That's exactly the straw color we want. You've got talent, lad. Now heat up the whole thing. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dog could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway.
Greetings to you too.
Christ, what?
It's cooled now. You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Besides the spark, you can tell a good strike by the sound it makes. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking.
How about the kiss farewell?
What about my marriage vows? If the Lord saw us back, and that pissed him off that he wants his revenge.
Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
What good does it do me to whistle while I work?
It makes you work to a rhythm. You won't get tired so quickly, and the iron feels it.
How do I know a good strike from a bad one?
By the sparks that fly up, and by the ring. It rings out with a different sound when you do it right.
What's the right way to heat up the workpiece?
Do it till it turns the color of straw. Ideally, the color should be the same everywhere, if your forging's going to be even. The main thing is, don't work it cold. You just ruin it. But don't overheat it either. As soon as sparks start to fly off it in the furnace, take it out.
Why should I forge evenly?
If you keep hammering the same spot, you'll never finish it. You'll just fuck it up. But jumping from one end to the other ain't a good idea neither. You'd end up working unevenly. The best thing to do is aim each strike next to the one before.
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
Where can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. They can't afford it neither.
What can I do with the items I've forged?
Well, you can sell them, though you probably won't have much luck around here. But I'll happily buy some of the nicer things from you.
Where exactly is my bed?
At the side of the house, there are 2 doors and a wheelbarrow between them. You go in by the rear door, next to the woodshed, and you can put your things in the chest there. Don't worry, nobody'll steal them.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right, here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work.
I heard you're in need of money, friend. Aye, true enough. I need to pay the tithes and give something to the church for my father's requiem mass. Isn't it a bit early for that? It's ages till St. Waits. For then, you're right. But I promise my... if I wouldn't leave it to the last moment this year. So, have you got any ideas?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't leave it to the last moment this year.
This'll take a bit longer. It's burning.
Christ almighty.
This'll be done in no time. Now I just have to temper it.
Why the long face?
Oh, I've just got this nasty premonition.
What premonition?
I've got a barrel of ale at home. I'm afraid it'll go bad on me soon. Someone should really do something about that.
Aye. I'm in a right bind. But what are friends for if not to help each other?
Great. It's a deal. Go ahead and tell Franz and Vashek, too.
Well, I'll be going then.
Take care now.
Burning. Well, I've got half finished.
You have a kind master, eh, Mutt?
How's it going?
My wife and I are pickling cabbage. Loads of it.
Again? That's what you said last
This'll be
week.
done in no time.
And the one before that.
It's good for you. Pickled cabbage drives out the black bile and puts your fluids in balance.
What fluids?
Saturn and Jupiter are in a bad constellation at the moment. That churns up the black bile.
You've been hanging around with Miller Grayson, haven't you?
And what if I have? He may be a bit odd, but everything he says is true. The other day,
What? You didn't actually do it, did you?
laugh all you like, but if I told you they gave 3 times as much milk afterwards, you still wouldn't be impressed, would you?
Wait, really?
Aye. Take my advice and go and pickle some cabbage, friend.
Well, I'll be on my way. I wish you well.
God bless. Best of luck to you.
What are you here for, stranger?
What do you have for sale?
I hope you'll be satisfied, my friend. How can I help you, stranger?
There's a couple more things I'd like to ask about smithing.
Ask away.
Thanks. That's all I need to know. I'm still not really sure of myself in the forge. Could you show me again how it's done?
Why not? Better to practice now than fuck up an order. Why don't you forge me another hunting sword? Have you got what you need?
Yeah, I have.
Let's see what you can do then. Get to it. I want to see how you'll fare. Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up, try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. Work the bellows. You can tell the temperature by the colour. You won't be able to tell when it's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? That's exactly the straw colour we want. You've got time for that. Now heat up the whole thing. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Oh, you pooch. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway. Henry, when you've got a workpiece heated up, you can't just stand there and gape at it.
So, I went to see my brother. And? To talk about the inheritance.
Your father's still alive, isn't he?
Aye. But he drills all over himself. And he gets the
It's
feeling
cooled
that
now.
the time's nearly
You
up.
can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. That's the stuff. The sparks are flying. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, you've got a piece. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking.
I'd like to learn something.
What is this about?
Well, I'm experienced in blacksmithing, but I won't say no to a new trick.
Fine, but it'll take some time. See you later.